Hi, how are you? As a whole, I'm doing pretty well, but that does not include my brackets. They are not doing so hot. I would feel bad for me and say that I'm like stupid and don't really know what I was doing, but I don't really think most people predicted like 3 sevens, 2 sevens, and like an 8 seed to be at this point in the March Madness here. Let me just give you my current situation bracket breakdown and my thoughts slash recaps from yesterday, okay? So basically what happened is Villanova and Duke lost, which I didn't really see coming, and then Michigan won, so they continue their hot streak, and I didn't really see that coming either. So my bracket's pretty much torched. Up in the whatever region it is, I had Villanova and Duke playing each other in the what is it now, Sweet 16? Elite 8. I had them in the Elite 8. I had Villanova versus Duke in the Elite 8, which means I now get 2 games wrong in the Sweet 16, dropping my points off, which kind of sucks, but it's whatever. I did not see Xavier coming. I didn't think Florida State was that great, but their average height on their team is like the second tallest in the country. They were like 7'1" average. And then they got beat by Xavier, who had a losing record in their last 10 or 11 games coming into the tournament, so whatever. Hey, go Musketeers. Whatever their name is, I don't even know. I had Louisville winning one of my brackets. They lost, so that kind of blew some of my chances there in that one, but it wasn't the one I had $5 in for, so we're doing well. UCLA looked really good yesterday from what I saw, which was like 8 minutes of the game. They were dropping shots like it was nobody's business. Some of my upset predictions that didn't pan out, Rhode Island, they were up late and then they blew it, so that was kind of disappointing. Middle Tennessee couldn't really make shots late, they lost. Wichita was close against Kentucky until the end, they kind of faded away. Like I said in the beginning, I had like 4 brackets made with different scenarios each, so like if one team lost that I had as an upset, I didn't really care if I didn't pick them in another bracket, or if I did, because it's hard for me to cheer against myself all the time. Group consensus from the 4 of us that were watching yesterday in our room here, as in me and my roommates, we were just cheering for the upset all day. We're upset kings right now. We don't care at all about our brackets really. I mean, I only have like $5 in. Ray has $5 in. Casey has some money in a couple other brackets. I think Cody might too, but Casey's brackets are so atrociously horrible that at this point, he might as well join our bandwagon of high seeds going deep into the tournament because he's not winning, I don't think, anyways. Unless West Virginia wins, he could win our room, but if they win, then I don't know what I'm going to do. If I had to pick one team to ride all the way now, I'm going to cheer for Florida. Been a Gators fan for a long time, so, like a low-key Gators fan for a long time, so, like, I'll probably cheer for them now that they're moving on. And now that they're playing, I think, Wisconsin? Let me check. Yeah, they're playing Wisconsin now, which is a winnable game. And if they beat Wisconsin, then they're going to play either Baylor or South Carolina, which is also a pretty winnable game, which that would send them into the Final Four. So, cross my fingers there. But at this point in the tournament, a couple teams are playing really well and really hot, so who knows what's going to happen. I found myself yesterday, like I had a bunch of work to do, and so did Casey, and whatever. And like, Casey didn't do anything. I'm just going to point that out right now. He didn't do any work yesterday. He pretty much watched basketball and like a movie here and there. But what happens is like we would change the channel from one game to the next, and then like one game would be ending the first half, so we wouldn't really watch, and then like one game would be finishing their last like 10 minutes. And by the time that one finished, the next one was within the last 10 minutes of their game. So we just kept like watching the end of these games, and then we just kept getting sucked in because we were like, these are close games, we should watch them. And then that kind of slowed our production down for the day. But it's worth it, because it's like 4 days out of the year, like we'll get our work done some point. We're not too worried about it, but it's Parabola Appreciation Month, so you just gotta ride the fun train here and just enjoy it, Anyways, another topic of discussion. Basically, another sporting event that was on yesterday was NASCAR. I'm not a huge racing guy, but Casey kind of is, so we turned it on. And, like, I don't know, NASCAR is just one of those things where, like, I don't really like to say that I watched it, but I always end up watching it for so long. They have these things called, like, stages now, if you don't know, so there's, like, 3 stages in the race, and the first 2 stages yesterday were 75 laps. So like you watch the first like 10 or 15 laps of the race because there's usually a couple accidents or wrecks in there, and that's really what I was watching for. Changed the channel to some basketball for a little bit, came back, ended up watching like the whole entire first stage basically. I watched probably like 50 laps out of the 75, I think. Changed the channel again at the end of the first stage, came back, probably watched like another 50 laps of the second stage until that stage was done, and then I had to leave, so I didn't watch the rest. But like, nothing really happens in NASCAR, but like I just find myself just so dialed in and just like I don't even know. It was like a 300 lap race yesterday, and I probably watched like 100 or so, give or take 10 or 15. That's just a lot of time just sitting there watching people go making left turns the whole time, you know? I mean, it's just like, I feel like I'm not doing anything when I watch NASCAR. At least like March Madness, like I got my brackets, you know? It's hype like all the time in the last like 5 minutes. Like, it's so exciting. Anything can happen. You know, you're hoping for the 10 seed to upset the whatever seed, and you're just cheering the whole time. Maybe not out loud, but like you're kind of excited. But NASCAR, you're literally just sitting there just watching the same thing for like 45, 50 laps, and then maybe there's a yellow flag because someone bumped the wall. And then that's pretty much all the excitement. I mean, I only saw one accident yesterday, and it was with one car because he drove into the wall. I tell myself every time, like, oh, NASCAR's coming on, I'm probably not going to watch it. Probably shouldn't watch it because, like, I just get memorized. And then I look down at my phone, and I've been sitting there for, like, an hour or an hour and 15 minutes, and I have no idea how that's even possible. Because, like, it's really just not super interesting at all. Not that it's not super interesting. Like, some aspects of it are kind of interesting. And, like, I know a little bit about a little bit, but at the end of the day, I don't really want to pride myself in sitting down saying I watched a NASCAR race for 3 hours, you know? Like, I don't want to be that person. I'd much rather say that I went and spent my time yesterday watching like 3 or 4 really hype college basketball games go down to the wire than saying that instead of watching those games, I sat and watched NASCAR for 2 hours and there was like one accident or like whatever. And like, who am I going to tell that's going to be interested in that, really, that I know? That's just 3 hours I'm not getting back. And I'd say I was doing homework the whole time, but like, once I sit down, I'm just like, I'm glued there, you know? Like, I would get up in commercials and get my homework and come back, but like, my thought process is, if I bring my laptop out, it's probably going to die in like 30 minutes. Then I have to go get my charger, and I don't feel like setting it up out there just to then decide that I'm going to come back in here and then do my work. So I just end up sitting there like in between commercials debating if I'm going to get this stuff or not. But I don't actually watch the commercials, because if one thing goes on the commercials, there's like 3 other things I can switch to that are active. Between the NASCAR race and like 2 or 3 basketball games, I didn't have to watch commercials at all yesterday for the most part. So that was pretty much my excuse to stay on the couch for a decent portion of the day. Yeah.